in this unit, we've done a lot of different things. In particular, we started with the Pythagorean theorem, distance form of midpoint. Remember that? And then we advanced onto circles. Practiced a little bit of that yesterday. Then we advanced onto graphing with different transformations. And then we did x and y intercepts. We graphed that way. Today we put it all together to talk about a shape that comes up a lot if you take a college level course in mathematics, and that would be parabolas. And specifically we want to talk about parabolas that are in standard form. Standard form is y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. The parabola whose equation is right here, x squared minus 2x minus 3, is this graph that you see right here. Now, we have talked about parabolas already, but they've been of this form. Y is equal to the quantity x minus 1, quantity squared minus 4. So we said it shifted right 1 and down 4. Right 1 and down 4. Everybody recall doing that the other day?
Yeah.
What if it's not in that form? What if it looks like that? And that's what we need to figure out. And there's some important characteristics that go along with this. And the first one is the direction of the graph. If the number in front of the x squared is positive, then it goes up. If the number in front of the x squared is negative, then it goes down. Simple as that. This thing at the bottom here is called the vertex. The vertex of the parabola is one of the most important things to find. And the vertex is located at negative b divided by twice the a value. Once you find the x value, you find the y value by plugging it back into the function. So that's what f of means. You just take it, plug it back in for x, and it produces the y value. Once you find the vertex, we can then draw the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is this imaginary line that divides the parabola directly in half, splits it side to side. It's a vertical line. Vertical lines have the equation of x equals, and it's always x equals whatever the x value is of your vertex, or negative b divided by twice the a value. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. Notice this one crosses at negative 3. And that's because if we want to find the y-intercept, we plug in 0 for x. And when we plug in 0 for x, notice that becomes 0, that becomes 0, and we have a minus 3. So it just ends up being whatever number is on the end. So whatever your c value is, that is going to be your y-intercept. I just pointed to because that was a question that you kind of had the other day about the x and y-intercepts. So when it's a parabola, you can just look at the number on the end, and that's it. But the x-intercepts, that's a little bit different. And we did build off of this the other day, but the x-intercepts are located here. And the way that you find an x-intercept is you set the y value equal to 0. And do you remember the other day when we set 0 equal to a quadratic of something of second degree? Do you remember how we solved that? We really have two options. We could do the following. We can either factor, and if it doesn't factor, then we use the quadratic formula, which you all remember as negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by twice the a value. We're gonna do half the lesson today, we're gonna do half the lesson on Monday. On Tuesday, you're gonna have an opportunity to work through some practice and study guide. When we get back, we'll have one more day of practice and you'll test on the Tuesday that you return. If we flip it over, we are gonna do the odds today. And in your assignment today, you're also going to do the odds. I say let's find the easiest stuff first. What's the direction for the first one?
Up.
Up. And the y-intercept is always that number on the end. Notice that this one doesn't have a number on the end, so the y-intercept is just 0. Don't get those wrong, okay? Those we have to get right. I like to then go to my vertex. I use the equation negative b divided by twice the a value. And so for negative b, I take the 2 and I make it negative. So negative 2. Divided by twice the a value. The a value is the value in front of x squared, which is 1. So it's 2 times 1. Or negative 2 over 2. Which is negative 1. I know the x is negative 1, so I can then produce the y value by plugging negative 1 back in. Notice if I plug negative 1 back in, you could do it on your calculator, or you could do it by hand. I square the negative 1 to get 1, and then 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, and I get negative 1 again. At this point, I am going to plot some points. I'm going to make a 3 by 3 graph. You can make the graph whatever you want to be able to fit your parabola. And I have plotted my vertex. The next thing I like to do is I like to draw my axis of symmetry. It is a vertical line. It always goes through my vertex, dividing the graph in half. Once you've found the vertex, it's very easy to label your axis of symmetry. It is always x equals whatever the x value of the vertex is. And then finally, the last piece we need to do to finish off this one is find our x-intercepts. We find the x-intercepts by taking our original equation and setting it equal to 0. Generally, the factoring methods are you have the difference of squares, or you have a trinomial, or you have a greatest common factor. What's the greatest common factor we can take out here?
X.
And so we take out the x and we're left with x plus 2. So therefore, the solutions that will produce 0 as an answer are 0 and negative 2. So I plot the x-intercepts. And now I have plenty of information to be able to draw my graph. So you can see that if it's in our transformation form, it's easier to graph. When it's in standard form, it takes a fair bit of work to kind of uncover what we need to be able to do. Question?
You start from the vertex?
Yep, starting from the vertex and go from there. Yep. Talk to the person next to you. Which one of these would you be most likely to make a mistake on when it comes time for the test? Go, talk.
I don't think I understand this. So this is where it crosses over the x.
Yeah.
So we have to do 0 and negative 2. The only thing. Oh, wait, what did I say? That's a good concept. I don't know why you could consider it. Because that's where it crosses over the x. Is that those two? Oh, one. Oh my gosh. Where'd the x-intercept come from?
So the x-intercept, so to be clear, and I apologize if this isn't written in a way that you understand well, this is not a coordinate, so this is a coordinate that we plot. This is, we plot 0 on the x-axis, and we plot -2 on the x-axis. That's what it means to be an intercept. It comes from when we factor it equal to 0. And so those are the solutions, 0 and -2. I would hope that for you guys, everybody is okay with the direction, and everybody's okay with the y-intercept. Agreed? And the axis of symmetry is always just x equals the x value of the vertex. So I think for most people, they're either confused about the vertex or the x-intercepts. Would people agree that those are the two that you might make a mistake on? Okay, so if you have a question as we move forward on this one, please stop me so we can talk about it together. All right, what's the direction?
Down.
Which is it? Why is it up? Because the x squared is positive. Caitlin, did you say negative because you saw -8x?
Yeah, that was the first thing I saw. So
Okay, that's all right. Don't worry about it. Thank you for giving me the answer. And then the y-intercept is just 7. Yep. So those are easy. In order to find my vertex, again, our formula is -b divided by twice the a value. So -b means opposite what b is. So if b is -8, I write down +8. Twice the a value. A is 1. 1's the number in front of x squared, so it's 2 times 1. So I get 8/2, which is 4. I find one of the most common mistakes for people happens right now. A lot of people get 4, but they don't plug it in correctly. 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 7. And I get 16 minus 32 plus 7. If you need a calculator to walk through that operation, that's just fine. But I can see I get -16 plus 7 is -9. Any question how I computed the vertex? Then I'm going to start by making the graph. I go to -9, so I'm going to make a 10 by 10 graph, and I'm going to go by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I got new neighbors, and they're really nice, and I like them. They got some younger kids, but they got 2 beagles, and the beagles are younger. They're kind of smaller. And my dog, the boxer, she wants to eat them alive. So it's funny, like she goes out when they come outside, and she just acts like a big tough dog, and she just yells at them and barks at them. Oh, 4, -9. Hopefully they get used to each other here. After I plot my vertex, I like to draw my axis of symmetry. What do I write for my axis of symmetry?
The first number.
Yep, the first number. So x equals 4. And we don't like to write just the number. We like to write x equals because this is an equation for a vertical line. So we like to write x equals 4. Okay? I'm going to plot my y-intercept now. Watch what I can do to kind of help myself out. If I plot 7, 2, 4, 6, 7, because the green line is the axis of symmetry, I can flip and put one right over on the other side as well. So you've already got a pretty good indication of the shape of the graph. And we should be able to kind of predict about where our x-intercepts should be. The final part is to find our x-intercepts, and we do so by setting this equal to 0. 0 equals x squared minus 8x plus 7. What are the two numbers that multiply to 7 and add to negative 8? Negative 1 and negative 7. So you can see my solutions are positive 1 and positive 7. As I plot 1 and 7 on the x-axis, does it look like the parabola should head through those points? Yeah. So everything should fit together. And that's what's kind of nice about it. As you go through the process, if you see something doesn't fit, it means that you did something wrong along the way. You know to kind of go back and check. So now I started this vertex, and I'm going to draw up through those spots. And that's that. Go ahead, take out your homework. We're dividing this up into two parts so you guys can be pretty confident with what you're doing today. And you want to do, so it's a front and a back, but you just want to do the odds. So 1, 3, 5, and 7. Those are all ones that factor, whereas 2, 4, 6, and 8 don't. We're going to have to do the quadratic formula. So that will be what you work on Monday this next week. I do have the answer key posted for you right here, so you can come on up and check. I'd be happy to help you if you're getting stuck at all.